All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something pretty interesting. The inauguration of this 3-day Brahmakund Mela and exhibition in Tripura.
Okay.
And we've got this press release from the state government, right?
Right.
And the thing that jumps out is that it's not just like any local, festival.
Right.
This feels like it's part of like a bigger strategy.
Yeah.
Involving their culture, their economy, and even like tying into some national priorities. So let's break it down.
Yeah, let's see how this all fits together.
Yeah, so it's interesting how they're presenting this traditional Mela,
Yeah.
as this kind of intersection of their cultural heritage and, the government's plans for development.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? It's like they're making this very explicit connection between these local traditions,
Right.
and the bigger ambitions they have for the state as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah, the chief minister even said that this Mela is like a Bino, which means like a coming together or a union, of all these different communities in Tripura.
Yeah.
And he emphasized how important these events are for showcasing the cultures of all the different ethnic and tribal groups there. And then he even talked about how the government is actually working to like enhance these melas to build what they're calling One Tripura, Best Tripura.
Right.
And they really want to support their local arts and culture through it.
Yeah, I mean that phrase, that vision of One Tripura, Best Tripura, framed around these cultural events, raises some interesting questions. Like how do these melas actually work to foster this sense of unity across all these diverse groups,
Right.
And what are the specific aspects of their arts and culture that they're targeting for this kind of support?
It's a really good point. And it's not just talk either,
Right.
The chief minister also pointed out that there's this specific government focus on developing the areas around these Mela sites.
Okay.
And he directly linked religious sites with the growth of tourism, which makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
This all seems to align with Prime Minister Modi's initiatives to develop religious places as tourist centers across India.
Oh, wow.
So you've got this local maya
Yeah.
that's potentially tied into like a national strategy.
Yeah, it's really smart when you think about it, right? They're connecting what they're doing locally with these national goals.
Yeah.
And I bet they're hoping to attract more investment and support that way.
Right.
That push for religious tourism nationally, it creates this opportunity that it seems like Tripura is ready to take advantage of.
For sure. And they're actually putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, really.
The Minister of State for Industries and Commerce announced a 14 crore rupee development project specifically for these Brahmakund Mela grounds.
Wow.
And they're expecting work to start like this fiscal year.
That's a pretty big commitment.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment to the infrastructure of this gathering.
What do you think that kind of investment means?
I mean, to me, it says they're serious about elevating the status of this Mela and attracting more visitors.
Yeah.
It seems like they're planning to improve things like amenities, accessibility, just to make the whole experience better for tourists.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really trying to upgrade the whole thing.
Totally. And the chief minister even specifically talked about the economic benefits of all this.
Okay.
He said these religious sites aren't just making the state more beautiful, but they're actually driving the tourism industry.
That makes sense.
So you can really see the direct connection they're making between culture, faith, and their economic development.
It's like they're strategically using Tripura's culture and, religious places
Right.
to help the economy grow through tourism.
Exactly.
That's a really interesting approach.
Yeah, and it seems like a collaborative effort, too.
Okay.
There were all sorts of dignitaries at the inauguration, like government ministers and the district magistrate, representatives from all these different local governing bodies, even people from the Tripura tribal area's autonomous district council.
Oh, interesting.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and especially including representatives from groups like that.
Right.
It really shows that they're trying to involve all these different communities in this development.
Totally.
And it emphasizes that message of unity that the chief minister was talking about.
Exactly. So it seems like this Brahmakund Mela is more than just like a local fair.
Right.
It's like a major part of Tripura's plan to preserve their culture, invest in their infrastructure, and boost their tourism industry.
And all while lining up with those national priorities.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you think, like, with all this investment and this clear focus on cultural unity and tourism,
Yeah.
how will all of this reshape Tripura's identity and its economy? in the years to come?
That's a really good question.
And what about other unique cultural events in other parts of India?
Yeah.
Do they have the same potential for growth and connection?
I mean, I think that's something worth exploring for sure.
It's definitely some food for thought.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, see you later.